Meanwhile, there's fire in Bamenda again, but this time 3 children killed in their sleep.
Well, fire has emerged as a deadly and frequent threat in war-torn Bamenda, the capital of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Incidents involving the epicenter of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, with incidents involving fire, both accidental and intentional, have become increasingly common in the region. The latest tragedy took place in the Ntaghan neighborhood of Bamenda, Nkwen, where 3 young children perished in a house fire. Investigations are ongoing to determine the cause of the fire, but we know how these investigations always end.
Well, in the early hours of September 4th, a devastating fire claimed the lives of 3 children in the Ntaghan neighborhood located near Blue Bar, Bamenda. The fire reportedly started around 1 a.m. engulfing the residents while the children were asleep. By the time neighbors noticed the flames and rushed to the scene, it was too late to save the children, who were tragically burned beyond recognition. The parents of the victims were not at home at the time of the incident, and while efforts were made to extinguish the flames, rescuers were unable to reach the rooms in time. Preliminary speculation suggests that an electrical fault, possibly a short circuit, could have been the cause of the fire. This is attributed to the unreliable and intermittent electricity supply in the area, a situation that has worsened than the worst of the ongoing war. What makes this tragedy even more devastating is the heartbreaking backstory of the father of the children. The father had been arrested 1 week prior on charges of financial debt caused by an unidentified person. Well, despite his denial of the accusation, he was still thrown in jail. He spent an entire week in a cell, only to return home to discover that his house had been rescued to ashes, and worse, that his children had perished in the fire while he was detained.
No nothing. They take me for sale. They hold me for 1 week for they say, I said, I don't know me, no nothing concerning the buy money. They don't hold my hand. They don't hold my hand. They don't begin them. Man, to begin them. When the man when they hold me so for sale, I don't want my sister. I don't know me. I don't know me this man. I don't know me. The man was always for me, I don't agree. I don't know the other man this and that. They tell me go for say they keep me for them for 1 week. I won't come back. They never tell me go for obsession today. I won't come ready. I want to come today. They burn my heart. We will begin them. When the man will tell me go for say, the man will tell me go for say. I know they owe me here. I know they owe ye. If I did talk this thing so, where are the owe you one from? If I did talk this thing so, how will population don't come out so? If I did talk this thing so, if I did owe that man where he don't keep me for sale for 1 week. Make the same day we don't take him a trip again and man not sleep to the next day. You don't can keep my trip again them.
The arrest, which the father believes was unjust, adds an additional layer of pain to an already tragic situation. Even after his release, he has been desperately searching for the person who falsely accused him and led to his arrest, an arrest that prevented him from being there to save his children when this fire started and broke out. Bamenda has seen a sharp rise in fire-related casualties, coinciding with the ongoing war in the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Residents and analysts alike are starting to question whether these fires has become another instrument of violence in this region, which has been plagued by conflict since the beginning of the independence struggle. The Ntaghan incident is not an isolated case, as many areas in Bamenda and its surroundings have experienced similar tragedies in recent months. The ongoing war between Ambazonian forces and colonial forces of occupation has devastated the region. In many areas, the situation has devolved into a humanitarian crisis, with basic services, electricity and water, either disrupted or severely diminished, according to speculations that probably was one of the reasons why this fire broke out. Electricity problems. Well, some residents speculate that the colonial military's scorched earth policy, which involved the deliberate burning of entire villages during military operations, could have also contributed to a culture where fire is now perceived as a weapon of war. This destruction pattern has left many wondering if these fire incidents are purely accidents or intentional acts of violence by the colonial regime and its forces.
While earlier reports indicate that the fire could have been caused by a short circuit, many in the community remain skeptical. The wartime environment has fostered suspicion, with some residents suggesting that such incidents may not always be accidental. There have been numerous reports of homes and businesses being deliberately targeted and set ablaze, either as acts of reprisal or simply to instill fear in the population. The deaths of the 3 children have sent shockwaves through local community in a region already grappling with the hardships of war. Such incidents exacerbate the sense of insecurity. The Ntaghan neighborhood, which has been a relatively quiet part of Nkwen, is now mourning the loss of their young lives. Residents have expressed frustration over the lack of adequate emergency response systems and the deteriorating infrastructure that may have contributed to its tragedy. Whether accidental or intentional, fires have become an increasingly threat to lives and properties in the war-torn crippled city. The incident calls for immediate action, both in terms of investigation and investigating the root causes of such fires and improving safety measures to prevent further loss of lives in the future. For the father of the 3 children, the tragedy is a haunting reminder of how unjust systems and personal misfortunes can combine to create catastrophic consequences. This grief, now compounded by the loss of his children, adds to a deeply personal angle to a broader societal tragedy. As Bamenda continues to be at the epicenter of the ongoing war in Ambazonia, the need for safety measures, proper infrastructure, and better emergency services has become more urgent than ever. And as always, until Ambazonia's independence is restored, these burdens falls on the people and everybody as well.